And the first question is, how did AssistHers start? Good, that would be good. How?
How was AssistHers? Am I supposed to talk?
Sure, anybody can talk. I listen on the editing.
Okay. How was AssistHers created?
AssistHers started, I've worked and volunteered in AIDS since 1986. And one of the things that I did in the AIDS community is I worked with AIDS care teams, which meant we would go into churches and we would recruit and train volunteers from the religious community and from synagogues and churches all over Houston to be assigned to work as a team with folks who had HIV and AIDS. And in those days, in the 80s, it was a very tough time. There weren't a lot of resources for people with AIDS. And so those care teams became everything. They did everything from cutting the lawn to hospice care towards the end. And so what we did, so in watching that model and being a part of that wonderful model of care, when two of my lesbian friends got sick, I naturally called on some of our friends and we set up care teams for these two friends. And after we did this for these two folks and it seemed like it was helpful, then a friend of mine named Susie said, why don't we do this as an organization? Why don't we get a nonprofit status and really set it up so that it's an ongoing process? And so that's when we started AssistHers.
What? I'm so damn cute, making me cry.
Well, Tori did a fabulous job of describing how she and Susie pulled in women in the community, which was, you're right, a very dynamic group of people. When Tori first contacted me, and she knows this story, I was a little bit upset because I had been a caretaker and was still in the process of caretaking with a friend of mine. And I wasn't sure that I wanted to do that because I was so drained. My partner had been diagnosed with brain cancer and had surgery and went through the chemo and all that sort of thing. And about a year and a half after her diagnosis and surgery, she had a stroke. She had a massive seizure at work and had a stroke and was paralyzed on one side of her body. And she was at home for 3 months and I had to continue to work, so we were able to hire a nurse during the day to help take care of Kate. But what Tori did at that time was we have a dinner group, and Tori, without me knowing it, as Tori does, rallied everyone together and signed everybody up for kind of food service type of thing. So every night of the week, someone would show up at the door with dinner, and which was just lovely. And it was just, and some of these women I didn't even know that well because the dinner group was new, was relatively new. So Tori had known these women for a long time, but Kate and I were relatively new to that group. And there was just such an outpouring of support and love. It was just unbelievable. So, and this of course was before AssistHers started. So it was part of the little seeds that I think happened during that time. And after Kate passed away, it was probably, I would say a year and a half later or so, that the actual letters went out to recruit women to help start AssistHers. So for me, things were still very raw, and I was very drained, and I thought, I can't do this. I mean, I just can't do it. I talked to Tori about it, and she said, oh, Renee, please, like as Tori does, please do this. We, need, your expertise. I happen to work in the field of education, and plus you've been there. So I said, okay, I'll go to a meeting. Well, 15 years later, I still have, my finger in it a little bit. for me, one of the things that I had to do was not work directly on a care team. I just couldn't. And plus I was, as I had mentioned earlier, still taking care of a friend of mine and did for many years until she passed away. So I didn't have the energy to do that. I just couldn't. So instead, I worked with these many late night meetings where we would order pizza, and the meetings lasted till 10 and 11. Remember that? Yeah, well, we were, kind of hammering everything out for the organization. It was just fabulous to work with all these different types of energy coming in. And so I became involved with the training committee and kind of spearheaded that with another woman and trained our first class. We had 25 women. Remember that and we did our trainings. There were half-day trainings, really. We were very involved with training. So that's what I did, and just really by default, the founding mothers became the board, and then I, served different positions on the board, and it means a lot to me. It means a whole lot to me. So my start with the sisters and my involvement, I was coming from a little bit of a different place than some of the other women, and sometimes it was difficult, but certainly worth it.
What does AssistHers mean to you?
It means a lot of things. I think a lot of people see AssistHers just as the care teams. But when it was originally designed, and you still see today, it really has three parts, and these are important parts to the health and well-being of my lesbian community. And the first one is we are there to teach ourselves how to live longer, healthier lives. And that's why on Saturday mornings we have the educational component, so that we live and treat ourselves and grow stronger and healthier, so that maybe we don't need care teams as we get older. The second thing is to break down barriers so that folks, the healthcare system, especially in the 80s, was fairly homophobic. I think it still is. So another component of AssistHers is to break down homophobia in the medical community and help women be less fearful about going in to see the doctor and getting pap smears and getting these important medical, being part of that support system that the medical community can provide us, so that again we live longer and healthier. And the third component is helping women in need. And again, that's sort of where the heart lies, and that's always the part that everyone gravitates to. But I think it's always important to remember that AssistHers is sort of a stool with three legs, and we need all three of those legs. And it also means teaching lesbians to be team players. And I think that is critical to the survival of the lesbian community. I think when you are a lesbian and you're in your first team is your family, and when you don't grow the way your family wants you to, which is to get married and have grandchildren and do all that stuff, there's a part of you inside that's stronger than that and that breaks through that mold. And because of that, I'm not sure we are always good team players. And so I think a part of AssistHers is very important at teaching all of us skills about how to work as part of a team. And I think that's an important survival skill.
Having had the background I have with having people very, very close to me be incapacitated and eventually pass away, I think I have an understanding, certainly not any better than anyone else that's been in my same position. Unfortunately, as time has gone on, I'm not the only one out there now that has lost a partner. At the time, I think I was in our immediate group of friends. But as time has gone on, of course, people have lost people very dear to them. But it's knowing what, on some level, I know on some level what people need in terms of support. Now, of course, everyone's situation is different. But to know that, and that we have women that will go out there, and the person that needs the help can tell you, they tell our team members, this is what I need. I need either, this job done, or I need just contact with people outside of my home, that sort of thing. So we can ask them what they need, and we can try to fulfill those needs. And to know that you're fulfilling somebody's needs, and they have nowhere else to go, as Tori mentioned, sometimes they have no family, or the family has shut them out. It's wonderful to know that you're there for somebody that really is going through a very difficult time, and going through loss and grief and fear, many times loss of money, loss of friends, because sometimes friends just go away. They get tired of it and they don't want to deal with it. So bringing in a team that is somehow a little bit more disconnected than intimate friends just helps. It just helps. It makes their life easier. Doesn't take away the pain, but it is a support system for them.
How does it feel to know that your advocacy for one woman has created a legacy of service touching the lives of hundreds of clients and volunteers?
Feels good. Because it isn't one woman, it's teams of women that come from all over Houston. We made friendships, deep and lasting friendships in AssistHers, like with Renee, like with all those 18, we had 18 founding mothers, and we all worked very hard together. And there were some hard meetings. We had a lot of diversity on the board. We had everything, physician, nurse, social worker. We tried to kind of cover all those skill levels that we needed to start a grassroots organization from the beginning. We had a police officer, we had a deaconess in the National Methodist Church who was into social justice, and she and the police officer, the two of them were kind of often wrangling over issues. So there was lots of rich conversation and lots of rich thoughtfulness about how we design things. So it felt wonderful then to be part of that richness and to think about things that I didn't always think about, that other people were important to other people. And I am so proud of AssistHers. I'm so proud because it was very interesting and rewarding to create the structure and then watch it grow up. And then it's been rewarding to step back and let it go and watch people do things even better than when we originally designed them. Even, stronger and better ways of doing things that I feel so grateful that those women picked up the reins and moved forward with something that was important to me, is still important to me, but that I can just watch grow and watch those seeds just bloom and bear fruit every day.
It is a good question. Again, it's fabulous. I mean, it's just wonderful. But when I go to the Saturday meetings, which I'm doing right now, we'll cut that. When I go to the Saturday meetings, there were times when, just like everybody else, it'd be a Friday night, and I'm thinking, oh God, tomorrow's second Saturday, It's not necessarily, I'm not wanting to get up in the morning, or Saturday morning, second Saturday morning rolls around and I don't want to go. But inevitably, every single time when I would walk into that room, regardless of what was going on with the organization or board or anything like that, inevitably I got just a charge of energy from seeing the different women. And I didn't know all of them. I knew their faces, but I didn't know all their names. The energy is just fabulous. It is. Even when, a team might be having an issue or whatever the case may be, the energy is just wonderful. And everyone is there for the same reason. But to know that energy filters out to the clients is amazing. And one of the things I just love is when we get letters from our clients that are thanking the team members. Sometimes they're thanking people in particular, sometimes they're just thanking AssistHers as the organization as a whole. But they're, oh my God, that just, and you know, sometimes I had the honor of reading a letter to the group on second Saturday, and it would just do this to me. Because, you know, for the women to feel that and to care so much to the point that they actually sit down and write a thank you note, you know, that's coming from deep inside, and you really do have a huge impact. The organization has a huge impact on some women's lives. And there's a little domino effect too, because as you affect that client, it also, in a usually positive way, will affect some of her family members or her friends. It's not just isolated to that particular client.
Those thank you notes really would bring it home, because you would get up early on Saturday and slog over to the church and see everybody and have donuts and just, you know, do a little chit chat before the meeting started. So that was always a nice way to start the weekend. But some of the ahas moments. I was very proud of the fundraising part of it, because there isn't a lot of money in Houston for lesbian organizations. And a couple of us raised most of that money for the first 6 years. And in doing it, I called upon a lot of our friends from the AIDS community. A lot of gay men stepped forward and said, I really want to help AssistHers because you all were there for me when my partner died, and you all helped us when we were really in trouble, and I'd be so proud to make a donation and be a part of AssistHers. And the flip side was we got money from religious organizations. So like everything about AssistHers, the founding mothers had this incredible diversity of expertise and backgrounds, and our funding sources were churches and gay men's groups and gay men's social parties and all of that. Mm-hmm. And at one point, I think for the 5th year anniversary, we brought a lot of folks, including a lot of the funders, back. And they were so proud to be a part of AssistHers. That was really fun. That made me realize that how deep we went outside the organization. How much impact AssistHers had in our GLBT community as a whole.
What are some of the lessons you've learned as AssistHers has grown over the years?
I do feel that gay and lesbian and transgender bisexual folks tend to be more ostracized from their families, and they do tend to have fewer resources. Especially lesbian women. Women don't make as much in the job market, so they tend to be at a lower income level anyway. One of the things I love about AssistHers, we are not fancy society people at all. Now maybe Renee is, but you walk into a room full of down-to-earth, totally caring women who just want to be helpful and just make life a little better, a little easier, and keep someone in their own home as long as possible. Think how important that is, to keep someone out of an institution. And I think there were many institutions, there were many instances where that was the case.
It's also been a lot of fun to see the organization grow. I remember when we first started, remember over on Jackson Boulevard, we had a little refrigerator. And Tori went around and got restaurants to donate meals. And so we get the meals and put it in little coolers and refrigerator. And then the team member would come by and pick it up and deliver it to the client. And we found out we couldn't do that. But that's the only way we could get food to them because we didn't have any money. And as the years went by, and thanks to our community as a whole, and people writing some grants, we were able to get a little bit of money, and it's just grown and grown and grown, and we've been able to start and maintain, most importantly, several programs, which includes some food assistance and some transportation. Because we would ask our clients and the team members what are the greatest needs that the clients have, and it tends to be transportation. Socialization is also an issue, and for many of them it's financial. So the way we can help without just directly giving money, which we can't do, is to help with food assistance. So it's been great to watch it grow. It's grown a lot, yeah.
My name is Tori Williams, and I'm one of 18 women who are the founding mothers of AssistHers. I'm very proud of AssistHers. It's one of the most important things that I have spent time on and been a part of. I'm very proud of I've been a part of it.
My name is Renee Taffy. I am one of the founding mothers, proud founding mothers of AssistHers. Was started in, I believe, the spring of 1996, 15 years ago. Still growing strong, going strong and growing. I am, have worked in special education for many years in the Houston School District. Have a great love for AssistHers.
Well into the 21st century, the unknown future of AssistHers rolls toward us. We face it with a sense of hope because women are living longer, healthier lives, breaking down the barriers of homophobia and helping women in need.